Means that do it. Burger
Welcome to the 9th episode of Air Check. I'm your host, Ty Rosenau. Originally broadcast by the BBC on number 15, 2010, Dave Podmore's Ashes and 100 Objects is a spoof of the History of 100 Objects BBC podcast, where they examine the ashes of 100 objects of the British Museum.
I'm Andy Hamer, and this is Dave Podmore's History of the Ashes in 100 Objects.
Podmore's on fire here at the Gaddafi Stadium. It's a life-size effigy, and it needs, a dozen of them to carry it through the streets, and they're burning an effigy of his sponsored car for good measure. And his dogs, my goodness me, they really wanted to know how unpopular he is. Malcolm, is that the first time a player's been burnt in effigy by his own teammates? I thought it was. Goodness knows what he's done. Maybe it was the 42 consecutive wides in the last over that won Pakistan the match, but they're obviously a bit down on the old boy. When I read those allegations, I threw the newspaper in the bin. Unfortunately, didn't quite get it on target. Went out the dressing room window, killed a pigeon in midair, and landed on the Pakistani balcony. What are the odds? I think one of them got 43 to 1. Anyway, I've ended up with a leather sofa and a Lexus, so all friends at the end of the day.
Here at Radio 1 County, we're always on the lookout for sports featurettes with a topical twist. So, what better way to look at the forthcoming Ashes series than sideways? And the first Ashes object is a certain 20th century Leicestershire all-rounder who I hope will be my companion on this voyage of discovery. I caught up with a player known to Fox's fans as the Pod Job Man on his old stamping ground at Grace Road. The indoor school, to be precise, where he was putting a group of under-11s from diverse backgrounds through their paces.
Yeah, no, we take kids of all sorts here, Andy. You don't have to be a Pakistani. You can be C of E, South African. We've even had lads coming along here who are completely incorruptible. There was one little fella, turned up, butter wouldn't melt, tried his heart out to play the game in the traditional way. By the end of the first session, he's on the mobile. Come lunchtime, we've had to tell his dad, don't bother picking him up, he's driving himself home and he's on Mercedes. Keep your sunglasses on, Stuart, and your hood, son. The cameras will spot you doing that. You can see, for this fielding drill, we're using real cash. Oh, he's caught it. Bad luck.
It was a good catch, though.
Well, you say that, he's just done himself out of £5,000. He won't be doing that again. Schoolboy error.
Well, he is a schoolboy. And I have to say, Pod, I'm not sure it's right to introduce children as young as 6 to financial inducements to underperform.
No, we use chocolate money for the very little ones, Andy.
It still smacks of corruption.
Yeah, no, smacks and corruption. That's what the modern game's all about, very much so.
And what does Dave Podmore's attractive wife, Jackie, have to say about this?
Don't know, Andy. I have to go to Australia to find that out. That's where she's gone. Andy, have you heard of Patmore?
Is that who she's run off with?
No.
It was Doug the Rogue McCurdy last time.
No.
Of New South Wales, KwaZulu-Natal and Essex for the 2020s.
No, this is Patmore. Impressive bit of kit, wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hamer?
Is it a bowling machine?
It's a suspicious bowling machine, Andy. It's a learning tool we use to show the lads the level of rewards they can expect. You set it to bowl a deliberate wide or no ball. Adjust the odds, let's say 66 to 1. And away you go. See, any one of these youngsters could get himself a condo in Dubai. Could be sipping a mojito on the 238th floor with Freddie Flintoff.
Not one of the evocative 100 Ashes objects we'll be checking off on our quest pod.
What are you saying?
This is an idea of somebody else's we're going to use about how inventions have changed the course of history. I say it's a quest. It's also an edutainment feature with a journeymentary element bolted on.
I'm not going anywhere with you on a motorbike, Andy.
No, it's a voyage of discovery into cricket's past.
Or a vintage car, or a bloody balloon. I'm not interested in history.
But it's the Ashes pod. Are you sure I can't persuade you?
Oh, well, if you're bribing me, that's a different matter. Depends what's on the table, how much.
Well, I'm sure the BBC will be prepared
All right,
to pay...
I'll stop you there, Andy. Lesson number 1, lads, listen to this. Do not work for the BBC. They haven't got any money. They spent it all on Moilsey. Right. Everybody throw their pads at each other and have a fight.
It seemed as though Pod and Andy's journey into Ashes history was back in the pavilion without having trouble the scorers. But as regular listeners to Andy Hamer in the Afternoon will testify, I don't take no for an answer, unless it's in my popular Celebrities Dead or Alive slot. One who's still very much with us is TV funny man Rory Bremner, and if anyone can replace Pod, not to mention doing the vintage car noise or any other means of transport, is R. Bremner Esquire. So I've texted him suggesting he don the batting gloves of curiosity and join me in a fact-finding run chase as we set off down the pavilion steps. Oh! Ow!
Andy, can you get off my bonnet? I want to talk to you.
Oh, hello, Pod. I was just in the middle of a cricketing analogy.
Well, can you hurry up and finish it? I'm running out of car sweets here.
No, it's all right. I can revoice in post. So, Pod, what brings you to this disabled parking space?
We're going on this journey thing or not?
Ooh. Does this mean you're declaring your availability for the forthcoming tour?
Are you still doing your analogy? Because I'll have a kip if you are.
No, ready when you are, batting buddy.
Well, do we get to go to Australia? Because I've got to get Jackie back. Unlike you, Andy, I live in the now.
How long has Dave Podmore been living in the Hyundai now?
Well, since he changed the locks on the house. It's a bit cramped when I got the dogs on board. So, we off to the airport?
No, our first port of call will be the British Museum.
Why? Where's that?
London WC1B 3DG.
Not London again. You know, been there, done that. Bought the T-shirt in a factory shop outside Leicester. Oh, go on then, get in.
Well, we can go in my car if you'd rather.
No, if we're going on a voyage of discovery, I'm driving on the left.
Ooh, incoming text from Rory Bremner, who was my stand-in buckaroo when you declared yourself unavailable to...
Tell him he's too late.
Hello, good evening, and welcome. What a pro. A text in the style of Sir David Frost, as ever, wickedly accurate.
Not been Rory's year, has it? First Bill McLaren, then Gordon Brown. Have a blow, Rory, mate. Get out of the way. What are we doing here?
We're hoping to find the origins of Ashes cricket. It's said the game was first played by wealthy Flemish merchants, early doors in the 11th century, using a three-legged stool as a rudimentary set of stumps.
Yeah, whatever. One question, Andy.
Yes?
If this is a British museum, how come all the stuff's foreign?
Well, that's got me stumped, Pod. Or stooled, as I imagine they said originally.
Excuse me, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
See, Andy, he's not British either.
It's Neil McGregor, Pod. Radio 4's Mr. Objects.
What's the problem, pal?
You've just stubbed out your cigarillo and object number 74.
Votive Athenian urn, 5th century BC.
It's one of the most significant treasures of the ancient Greek collection.
Hello, love. What's all that about?
He pays me. It's a living.
Oh, fair enough. Look, if this is the Greek bit, can I get a kebab? It doesn't have to be a million doors BC or anything, just as long as the lettuce hasn't gone too floppy.
I'll handle this. Pod and I were hoping to find some evidence of Ashes cricket in the early 19th century.
Couldn't tell you, dear. To be honest, I've been trying to forget that whole Industrial Revolution thing. All those boring beam engines and tedious umbrellas. I mean, please.
So, no chance of finding an early terracotta Barmy army? Or perhaps some Duckworth Lewis chessmen for rain-affected matches?
I'll tell you what was an absolute nightmare. The miracle peeler. OK, so it slices as it dices. Then what? I thought I was going to have Dolly Yodelknickers here warbling away for the last 12 minutes of the programme. I was like, ah! But bless you for listening.
Oh, I didn't listen. I've no idea who you are, pal. My radio plays traffic news. Come on, Andy, we're out of here. This place is doing me head in. I'll just take these bones for the dogs. Still got a good bit of meat on them.
No, you don't. That's Ramesses III.
Oh, do for Rocky III then. Did Ramesses III eat Ramesses II? Because that's what happened with Rocky III and Rocky II. Interesting bit of history for you.
Put them down.
Pod, I think we've outstayed our welcome.
Oi! Who are you?
Security guard with taser, early 21st century.
Look, it's over, dearie. Find something else to do.
So, a not entirely successful start to our Ashes quest. Then again, Joanna Lumley didn't find the source of the Nile straight away, but it was still journalistically valid for her to spend the first part of the programme marvelling at the pyramids before going to a market to haggle for a carpet with a man in a fez. Sir David Attenborough didn't find that luminous crab till he was 80. I was still 100 objects short of my goal, but Pod was one closer to his.
Oh, Jackie, I love this, Andy. Feel the texture of that.
Ah, very nice. I'm sure it'll win her back, or in Ashes parlance, retain her.
See, it's a genuine facsimile of a Vestal Virgin's thong. On the front panel, an image of the Elgin marbles.
Perhaps I should do the steering for a minute, Pod.
No, you're all right. I picked it up in the British Museum gift shop.
Well, if you keep the receipt, you'll be able to claim it back off the programme.
Yeah, when I say I picked it up, what happened was I knocked it off the shelf and put it in my pocket with my back to the camera. What's wrong with you, pal? Never seen someone hold up an Elgin Marbles thong in the fast lane of the M1 before?
Maybe not in the contraflow, Pod. But to play devil's advocate, isn't that theft?
I'm afraid the British Museum weren't looking after it properly. Stuck under a pile of Rosetta Stone socks and chocolate fudge.
Well, put like that, Pod. I'm sure in the fullness of time the British Museum will come round to your point of view.
This thong belongs in one place, and that's in Jackie's knicker drawer. A piece of Elgin Marbles merchandise is treated with respect. Perhaps a bit of fake tan sometimes.
The history of the Ashes may have failed to register on the British Museum's Ivory Tower radar system, but it's always excited plenty of interest in the media. Television has always kept its eye on the Ashes, ball by blistering ball, as this 1947 edition of A Question of Sport, presented by a youthful Sue Barker, shows.
This photograph of the Ashes Test at the Oval in 1939. What happened next?
War broke out and millions of people perished.
Excellent, Mr. Jardine. 2 points. Colton?
Yes, miss?
Be so good as to identify this inebriated cricketer dressed as a Gaiety girl and falling off a paddle steamer on a tour of the Dominions.
Oh, good Lord, it's me.
Correct. 1 point.
Begging your pardon, miss.
What is it, Colton? Hurry up.
He got 2 points, I only got 1.
That's because he's a gentleman and you're a player.
Fair enough.
Team question, and you make on fire?
I'd rather not. It might be injurious to the social order at this difficult time in our history.
And so say all of us, Mr. Jardine. I never voted for Attlee. Not never, I didn't.
Good man, Compton.
Yes, you get an extra point. The next question is, are there any famous Australians apart from Don Bradman?
No.
Correct. You've won a travelling rugby Daimler, and Compton, you take home a drummer senior service.
Much obliged.
The final scores are England 433, Australia no points at all for chewing gum and drawling in a cocky fashion.
That's me done, Andy.
But, Pod, you're still 3 shy of the Air Dinkum all-time in-flight Ashes Tour beer drinking record.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, I didn't quite do self-justice, but, you got to take the positives. At the end of the day, you draw a line in the sand and you move on.
But I've never seen you give up on a beer chase before. What stopped you?
£2,000. The clever money in Islamabad had me 3-1 on to break the record, but the even cleverer money in the Royal Bank of Nigeria account proves otherwise.
This is your captain speaking. Just to warn you that you may experience some turbulence in the region of the heartstrings because we are commencing our descent into Brisbane, Australia.
The seatbelt sign's back on, Pod.
All right.
Maybe put your shoes back on, and your socks, and your pants and your trousers.
Oh, yeah. I just didn't want to catch DVD.
Talking of which, I must say Muriel's wedding just gets better with every viewing. There's 10 since Prestwick, and I spot something new every time.
On behalf of my mates up front and the hosties back there, I'd like to thank you for travelling on Air Dinkum Flight 50, which, any Poms on board will need no reminding, was the score last time you came down under to try and get your hands on the sacred urn.
We'll see about that.
Temperature on the ground is a very pleasant 48 degrees.
48 was the year in which Don Bradman got a duck, as I recall.
Shona Marie, we've got a troublemaker in seat 81.
81, summer of Botham's Ashes.
Andy, stop drawing attention to yourself. Calm down. I have a fag.
Oh, Pod, you can't do that.
Excuse me, sir.
I do apologise for my friend. He's had a bit too much to drink. He'll have all his clothes back on soon.
Hello there.
Welcome to Australia, Mr. Podmore. You, with the Glee Series 3 baseball hat, deflate your neck cushion and come with me.
Ow! Ooh! Ow! My cause wasn't helped by Queensland's decontamination officer's discovery of a prohibited substance about my person.
What have we here?
My handy pocket-sized map of the treasures of the British Museum was thought to be showing off in a typically supercilious pommy way and a threat to the Australian way of life. I was subjected to 12 hours of probing and hosing while hanging upside down. But by sheer force of willpower, I convinced myself that I was in fact the right way up, albeit 12,000 miles from Loughborough, and well behind the asking rate for our 100 Ashes objects.
Oh, hello, Andy. How you diddling?
Well, diddling a lot more cleanly, Pod. And where better to start our quest down under than the very Brisbane hotel where England masterminded their historic campaign in 1986-87. What an amazing series that was, Pod.
Yeah, was it? Who won? You tell me.
Well, England 2-1. Surely you remember that. You were a member of the vital backroom staff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I had to go out and get a couple of mucky women for the lads.
Yeah, and more importantly, you probably supplied the videos of the opposition for the team to study, perhaps on this actual television, on which you're trying to find the adult channel.
No, I wouldn't have been this one, because we threw that telly out the window, obviously.
Yeah, understandable. I think there was only one channel then.
Yeah, Channel 9. It's all coming back to me now. It landed on Elton John's roller.
Ooh.
Only damaged one of the chandeliers, but we knew from then on our throwing arms were in really good nick.
I see the minibar's still here, albeit empty. Could be one of the objects. Evidence possibly of the presence of a certain knight of the realm named Sir Beefy Boatman.
No, that went out the window too. Took out the other chandelier. Oh, excuse me, Andy. I put a call through to the Missing Persons Agency. Yeah, Pod here, is that hangingrock.au? Yeah, I'm looking for my wife, Jackie Podmore.
It was the kind of development many a celebrity quest could only have dreamed of, even eclipsing the episode when Rory McGrath dropped Griff Rhys-Jones's punting map in the Thames before going to the pub. As cricket stats buffs know, the Podmore marriage has had more ups and downs than Jackie's dancing pole on an average night. Suddenly, a history of the Ashes in 100 objects had become, if possible, even more dramatic.
Yeah, I've looked out the window and in the bar. Distinguishing features, right. Blonde, immaculate nails.
Award-winning nails, indeed. Country Cuticles Nails of the Year, 2009.
What do you mean, skin colour? That's racist. All right, orange. Have you got plenty of paper there, pal? Because I'm going to take you through the tattoos now.
Look on the bright side, Pod. The agency's sending you some potential leads.
Oh, yeah, 300,000 bubbly blondes with tats and a tangerine tint. Half of them are probably blokes from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Oh, don't worry, I'll help you sift through them. I read good reviews of the Perth production. Certainly made a mug out of me. That was Ricky Ponting, no less.
I don't know where I've gone wrong, Andy. She just walked out 3 months ago, said she was going to start a new life out here. Tried everything. Texting, obscene texting. Sent her a picture of me bum.
Ooh, landscape or portrait?
Both. Nothing.
Here we are, Pod.
G'day, gents. Couple of stubbies of amber nectar?
Yeah, cheers, pal.
No worries. So, what do you think of the Brisbane Museum of Cricket?
Fascinating Don Bradman memorabilia. Every year from 1928 to 1948.
That's right. So no bastard can say the Don never paid his gas bills on time, because here's the proof that he did. In 80 framed quarterly payments.
And this is what, a Hoover guarantee?
Wrong, mate. It's the legendary guarantee for the very last Hoover, owned by Australia's greatest batsman.
Jackie and I used to have 5 Hoovers. One for each set of dog hairs.
Signed by Lady Bradman herself. Worth a room in its own there.
Interesting though some of these exhibits are, do you have any objects relating to England's Ashes campaigns?
Oh, you'll love this. The first ball that Steve Harmison bowled in the last Ashes test here at the Gabba.
But it's just an empty plinth. Where's the ball?
That's in Melbourne, mate. We like to have a bit of fun here at the Brisbane Museum of Cricket.
Maybe Jackie did shack up with that Doug the Rugger guy. Can I use this phone book?
It's not a phone book, mate. It's a historic document up there with the Magna Carta and the Da Vinci Code. Note how it falls open naturally at the Brisbane College of Nursing. Believed to have been used by Shane Warne himself.
Oh, yeah? Andy, do I look under Doug or Rug? Does the alphabet go backwards here, like the water going the wrong way down the plug hole?
Bamboozled on the park and in the bathroom too.
Perhaps I'd better remind you, Cobber, that Australia have just lost 3 tests in a row, including one against a Pakistan team which half of them were trying to lose.
Yeah, I lost a stack on that. Cheers.
Not to mention that the Aussies are now below England in the coveted Wisdom World Rankings.
Time for you to leave. And your fat pom mate with the mullet. Why can't you have a weave and a piercing like a man?
You're looking for some afters, pal?
You know what? The only good thing to come out of England is Heartbeat.
For your further information, ITV cancelled Heartbeat this summer.
That's a wicked lie. Next thing you'll be telling me that they pulled the plugs on the bill.
Oh, didn't you know?
What?
Come on, Pod. We don't want any more trouble.
Get out!
Regrettably, our quest for Ash's object still had a big naught next to its name. We decided to head off down to Brisbane's Woolloongabba Stadium, where England and Australia's cricketers are preparing for the first test. But the streets around the Gabba were strangely quiet.
State of some of these Aussies, though. Really let themselves go. Some of them haven't bothered to bleach their hair. Women are no better.
Any sign of Jackie on that side of the road, Pod?
Stick out like a sore thumb among this lot.
Sore, but properly manicured, Pod.
We interrupt music while you surf for an emergency statement from our Prime Minister. Off you go, Julia.
Thanks, Kev. Following the rumours about the axing of Heartbeat and now the bill, I'd like to assure the Australian people that these are only rumours, so there is no need to panic.
Got them rattled, Pod.
But to be on the safe side, stay in your homes and record as many episodes as you can on your VHSs, remembering to take the little tabs out on the back of the cassette. Be assured your government is taking steps to stockpile Christmas specials of both shows. Back to you, Kev.
Thanks, Julia. Get us a sandwich, will you?
Oh, no worries, mate.
And I'm sure Julia would have remembered to say, if she hadn't been a woman, we've got to get behind our cricketers at this difficult time and support the baggy green for the Ashes.
Come on, Aussie, come on, come on.
Definitely wobbling, Pod. Here we are at the ground. Visiting team entrance and dip. And there's the England team bus. Aussie morale must be low. There's no graffiti. All the windows are intact.
Nothing stuck in the exhaust pipe. This was Lord's, the wheels would be gone by now.
And there's nobody officious wanting to spray us down. Excuse me, we're from England. Can we park here?
Do what you want, mate. I don't care. I'm only the head of security. Geez, have you heard the news about the bill? Just when the hour-long format was working so well.
But it wasn't delivering the audience numbers. So end of, Gov. Come on, Pod, let's park up and go to the practice nets.
No fun blocking an ambulance in when you can.
And as I survey the vast arena below, I'm reminded of a cathedral of cricket. St Gabba's, if you will. Only where the altar should be, a 50-foot-high billboard for Herb Adams Meat Pies. Any special memories of this Holy of Holies, Pod?
No.
It certainly brings a lump to my throat.
Oh, yeah, I threw up on the outfield. Was it here?
I think that was Ilkeston, Pod, 1989.
Oh, yeah. Bad pot of cockles.
I'll try and describe the scene for listeners at home. On the left, or right, depending on how your hi-fi speaker system's set up, the Australian team going through their routine of spitting their gum out and throwing their hands up in the air at the unfairness of it all.
That is ordinary.
A team in decline, while on the right/left, displaying a newfound swagger and confidence, the England squad carrying out their tweeting drills and practicing their English accents.
I like my afternoon tea.
Tell you what, Andy, the Aussies might look crapsher, but their hospitality lasses are looking the part.
Whoever's taught them to totter around on high heels and giggle at the same time certainly knows their onions, Pod.
Yeah, there's a very experienced level 1 coach behind that unit. Look, that lass there, she just got engaged to one of the Aussie lads. I think she's getting him to sign his hat over to her. That is skill.
Yeah, and the way they're getting the direct debit forms out from behind their Vodafone sashes is worthy of Mrs Podmore herself.
Hang on, that one giving out the pens, bending over there.
Yeah?
I recognise that Nicoline anywhere. It's Jackie. She's gone over to the other side, Andy.
Oh, bad luck, Pod.
Don't believe it.
Yes, another example of the absence of borders in cricket's global village.
Jackie!
As with so much else in the game, it was England who gave hospitality lasses to the world, back in the days when a more gentle form of sporting commercialism prevailed.
Pets off to our new ambassadors of sport who brightened up an otherwise inclement day at the Oval. Yes, it's the Ogden's extra strong bootlace ladies, Betty, Joyce and Evadne, looking a picture in their tweed knickerbockers, brogues and sashes, proclaiming, Ogden's laces, they never fray and they won't snap. What does the England batsman Len Hutton make of this new phenomenon? I was so impressed I bought 2 pair, and I told Joyce to look me up next time she's heading Harrogate. Underneath the gasometer, it's the Battersea Empire Heating Company ladies, seen here exchanging amusing small talk with the Australian team. Before I knew it, I'd changed my energy supply from coal to anthracite, and I don't even live here. That Beryl, she twisted me round her little finger. Watch out, you Aussies. You'd better not send any obscene telegrams to these lovely girls, or there'll be a scandalous paragraph in the Sunday Graphic, and it'll be the rolling pin for you when you get home to your wives in Wagga Wagga.
So what's the score, Pod?
Couldn't get near her. She's taking the girls back to the dressing room to have an ice bath. Shut the door in my face. Cheers, Trotty, mate. Thanks, KP. Means a lot. Actually, Andy, I don't know what it means. Could be sending me a George Foreman griddle for all I know. But it's not going to bring her back.
Yeah, sadly, Pod, it looks like Jackie is an ex-wag. It's all over. Close of play for the Podmore marriage, without even the extra half hour claimed.
Actually, can you just say that into this phone, Andy? Not all of it, because it's expensive. Just a bit about it being over.
Why? Are you breaking the news to the dogs?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, go.
All right, okay. This is Andy Hamer, and I'm afraid it's all over between Pod and Jackie.
All right, and can you say it into this one as well? Forget the Andy intro, because they won't know who you are over there. Yeah, go.
It's all over between Pod and Jackie.
One more phone for that.
5 Live Sport now. And in football, someone we can't mention for legal reasons has allegedly done something we can't talk about. Meanwhile, cricket's back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The forthcoming Ashes series has been overshadowed by another spot betting scam, this time involving former cricketer Dave Podmore, his wife Jackie, and a mysterious Mr. Big, a go-between known only by his Glee baseball hat. Henry Blofeld, how do you react to millions being made out of a marriage breakup that wasn't?
I think it's terribly sad, and the ICC has to send out a clear message about these suspicious marriage patterns, and I know I probably sound like an old-fashioned fuddy-duddy, but, if people are going to split up and get back together for money, it takes all the romance out of a great institution. And, I was having dinner with the Lord Chief Justice, and he was absolutely spitting tacks that he hadn't managed to get a monkey on the Podmores getting back together, so, there's disappointment all round.
Thanks, Henry. Interesting stuff.
Can I have my brown envelope now?
Case of wine, do you?
Oh, my dear old thing.
Hello, Pod. And I thought I'd find you in your gentleman's club.
Better take that Glee baseball hat off, Andy. There's a dress code in Spearmint Rhino. You're wanted on 3 subcontinents.
Yeah, I wish you'd told me I wasn't talking down the phone to your dogs, but 3 bookmakers in Bangalore.
Don't know what you're on about, Andy.
Does this mean you and Jackie are back together for keeps?
I wouldn't bet on it. How's your Ashes quest going?
Not well. I don't suppose you've still got that Elgin Marbles thong?
You can't have that. Jackie's wearing it this afternoon to renew the wedding vows. It's our thong, Andy. Come on, it's my stag morning. Have a drink.
Yes, but I still haven't got a single object.
Well, here's 100 of them, all cricket-related.
That's an awful lot of money, Pod.
It's your cut of my winnings, Andy. Object number 1, a £50 note. Object number 2, Mr. Hamer. Oh, £50 note. Object number 3, another £50 note. Object number 4, it's £50.
Dave Podmore would obviously like to thank Christopher Douglas, Andrew Nichols and Nick Newman for their help in making this programme. And, as I say, Lewis MacLeod and Nicholas Sanderson. Dave Podmore's History of the Ashes in 100 Objects was produced by Richard Wilson with Monica Long and brought to you by Hattrick Productions in association with BeevBet Shepherd's Bush, bringing you tomorrow's dog results today in it.
That was Dave Podmore's History of the Ashes in 100 Objects. Human resources is either a hated or loved but essential department in the corporate world, depending on your viewpoint. This is a comedy of the HR Series 1 entitled The Appraisal, original broadcasted on February 13th, 2009.
HR by Nigel Williams, with Jonathan Price and Nicholas Leprevo. Episode 1, An Appraisal.
Peter? Is that you? Peter? Peter? Oh. Peter! So good of you to pop up.
No trouble.
Everything well with you?
Fine.
No panic, your end?
About what?
Your appraisal.
Should there be?
Should there be what?
Should there be panic about my appraisal?
From your end, as it were.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
No. We don't want you to panic about your appraisal from your end, from any end. This is not about panicking about your appraisal. This is just an informal chat about your
end.
About your end. How you feel it's going at your end and how they feel it's going at their end and at your end. And how I feel it's going at your end and their end and, of course, my end.
Yes.
Peter, I am your HR person. I am on your side in this. Your appraisal is coming up.
Indeed.
We don't want this to go on your appraisal.
No, obviously not. No. Whatever it is, we better keep pretty quiet about it. What is it?
You have a great sense of humour. Whatever it is. Great. Good.
Good. What is it? Are we talking about Newcastle? This is that away day in Newcastle, isn't it? With Bulling Smith and that guy from planning. And the woman who had the... isn't it?
No, it is not.
I got away with that then.
We have no record of anything happening at the away day, Peter. We were all too drunk to remember what anyone did on the away day.
You were blocked up.
I was. I freely admit that. My card is marked there.
It is?
Well, I'm not exactly the HR person's HR person.
No.
I'm me, I suppose.
You honked all over the woman who had the...
Don't
get off me!
Now, you have no recollection of making a phone call on September the 4th of this year to a company called Packaging UK?
I don't even know what they do, Sam.
They do packaging in the UK.
Oh, how very unimaginative of them.
This tape is that phone call, Peter.
Is it?
Phone calls may be monitored for training purposes.
Well, I suppose I always thought we were monitoring them rather than us, if you know what I mean. Well, I mean, the people who ring in, are they up to scratch sort of thing? The
clients.
Exactly. The whining, miserable bunch of... I remember Packaging UK. Yeah. They're a wholly owned subsidiary of European Design Services, who offer services in design for Europeans. That's why I was talking to them. There's this absolute jerk there called...
Norman Fish.
Right. That tape's Norman Fish?
Exactly.
What, me and Norman Fish?
Indeed.
All of it?
I assume so.
Not every conversation I ever had with Fish.
No.
No, but...
The one where you...
Indeed.
Indeed.
He is a very difficult man.
I'm sure.
He's impossible to deal with. Well, I find him impossible to deal with.
That emerges from the recording.
He's mad.
I imagine by the end of the recording he's furious.
He is. He was. And so was I. So am I. I mean, I still am. He had no right to... I mean, who appraises Norman Fish, right? I mean, were they recording Norman Fish at their end, right? Or was it just us recording me? I mean, are there any controls over people like Fish, you know? Is he just allowed to go around abusing people, you know, without being recorded at his end? Who needs bloody Norman Fish?
We do.
Well, that's what's so appalling. He needs us as much as we need him, doesn't he? Why is it always down to us to be squeaky clean?
We record conversations in order to assess performance, Peter, not the performance of our customers.
He's not a customer, Sam. He is a supplier. We are his customer, we're supposed to abuse him.
Peter, nowadays we are all customers. We are all consumers of each other's expertise and each other's products. And I have to say that it really doesn't matter whether we are customers or suppliers or clients or agents or just, people, which is what in the final analysis we all are. All human beings.
Not Norman Fish. He's not a human being.
We record conversations in order to assess performance. This is a record of your performance as an employee. And if Norman Fish rings your office...
He knows. He knows I'm being recorded. He asked for me to be recorded. Is this how this happened?
Peter, Norman Fish has no idea that your conversation was being recorded. No one knows about this tape except me and the person who gave it to me.
How much do you want for it? That was a joke.
Peter, I haven't listened to it all yet. I've only listened to the offending. It looks very, very bad indeed.
Well, not that bad, surely. I mean, that bad, eh?
What I suggest we do, Peter, is to play the tape together, listen to the tape together, and then we can think how to respond, how to play it.
With the volume turned right down, I suspect.
You have a great sense of humour, Peter.
Thank you.
But right now, jokes are not what we need.
No. Can I ask you about the tape?
When I play it to you, I think you'll understand.
Must you?
Must I what?
Play it.
I must, Peter.
Well, this sounds fairly innocuous.
It's silence, Peter.
I know that, but, is it a hostile silence, would you say?
In the context of what follows, it probably is, Peter.
Well, I think it has a companionable quality.
What does?
The silence.
It's certainly going on a long time. Ah, there it is.
Oh, it didn't sound too bad.
Peter, it was a double speed.
Do you want to go back to the beginning of the silence?
Why?
Well, when we come to this thing that I've apparently said, it's important to hear it in context. In the context of the...
Silence that preceded it. Listen to your performance. Assess your performance. Give me feedback on your assessment of it so that we can feed it into your appraisal.
I'll tell you what you are. You're an unspeakable little... An unspeakable little what?
I think you know the word you used, Peter. I have...
You've bleeped it! That's censorship.
It's a very offensive word, Peter.
What's offensive about the word you say I used?
Oh, I've been assured you used this word by someone in training who recorded the call.
But you haven't actually heard me say this word.
It was played to me. We have the original under lock and key.
What are you going to do with it?
I don't know. Use it as a training exercise, perhaps?
As a what?
I have no idea.
So, you heard me call him a complete...
Please, Peter.
All right, then. What's the word you say I used?
Look, I am not going to say it, Peter. There are women in the next door office.
Give me a clue as to the word you say I used.
It's a vulgar way of describing part of the female anatomy. It begins with the third letter of the alphabet.
Oh, that word. So you're saying you have a recording of me calling him a complete...
For God's sake, Peter. It's 11:40 in the morning.
Do you know, I've no recollection whatsoever of using that word.
This is a recording of you saying it.
It isn't. All I was saying was that tapes can be interfered with. And by your own admission, this is what has happened to this one.
Peter, please.
I mean, two can play at this game, huh? I could record my conversation with you, couldn't I?
But you're not. Are you?
I might be.
But you're not.
But I might be.
Peter, I want you to assure me that you are not recording this conversation.
Why?
Are you recording this conversation?
No, I'm clean.
Are you sure?
Hey, look. I'm clean, see? Nothing under my jacket.
Peter,
Here. Nothing under my shirt. Nothing up my trousers.
Peter, please, put your clothes back on.
Nothing in my boxers. Get a load of my boxers, Sam. Nothing in my boxers.
Oh, for God's sake, Peter, do not take off your underpants. Peter, I don't want a naked man in my office. Oh, you're wearing 2 sets of pants.
Oh, it's cold.
Oh, my God.
What?
I was really shouting.
Well, I'm not wearing a wire.
You know, I was screaming, I do not want a naked man in my office.
I'm dressing, Sam. I'm reclothing.
Suppose, in the outer office, suppose she heard. Imagine what upstairs would make of that. Do not take off your pants. I do not want a naked man in my office. If they hear it upstairs.
Who is it upstairs?
Upstairs.
What? You mean upstairs are literally upstairs?
Peter.
I thought it was just an expression like the front office or the men in suits.
What about the men in suits?
Well, the men in suits upstairs.
The men in suits are not upstairs, are they?
Oh, Sam, nobody's literally upstairs as far as I know. It's just an expression. Sam, I'm the one who's in the firing line. I've an appraisal coming up, as you reminded me.
And it is my responsibility, Peter. And if you must know, I have one coming up as well.
You have an appraisal?
I am appraised, Peter. It's not just you. We all are appraised, even those of us who do appraisals. In fact, our appraisals are far tougher than your appraisals. We have 360-degree appraisals, Peter.
Woohoo! You have to lie down or curl up into a ball or something.
Well, Peter, look, everyone we work with appraises us and gives us feedback on our performance and objective. Everybody.
Even me?
No, I'm not talking about you, Peter. I'm talking about her in the outer office, my secretary, as she does not like to be called, my assistant, as she also does not like to be called. She's been put there to spy on me and find out how I'm managing your appraisal.
You are managing it brilliantly, Sam. I've no complaints.
I'm afraid she'll report me for shouting about naked men in my office.
Well, then, we're both afraid. I'm afraid you'll report me for calling Norman Fish a complete...
Peter, can we forget about the word for the moment?
Well, I thought it was the only word in all the conversation that had engaged your attention.
No, that is not true.
No?
No, I am interested in the context. The context of what came before the word, which, as we have seen, was silence, and, of course, what happened afterwards. I mean, I don't know what happened after you used the word to Norman Fish. Maybe things improved.
They didn't.
No?
No. All you've heard on this tape, really, is me using this word.
Indeed.
Well, let's hear the context. Let's hear what I said next, for example. Maybe I could make a case for using the word to, fish. You know, play it. Maybe it gets better. In fact, it's too good a word for you. You're a horrible little face, little featured... little spawn of the devil.
Do you mind if I stop it there?
Not at all, not at all.
Spawn of the devil.
Indeed.
Indeed. And does it go on like this for...
For some time. Yeah, it goes on like this for some time.
How long, in terms of time?
Some time.
Does he respond?
I'm not entirely sure. He makes some kind of grunting sound, I think, but... Do you mind if I fast forward a bit?
Not at all, not at all.
It does resolve itself in some way, I think.
Well, you end up friends?
Not exactly friends, but, you know, let's hear it. I loathe people like you. People like you are scum. You're the scum of the earth. You're the creeping scum of the earth. You don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to have been born. Well, that's, you know, at least I'm not calling him a you-know-what.
No, you're not.
Yeah, that is progress of a kind. You're an absolute little is what you are. You're a horrible little You're a dyed-in-the-wool, 100-carat... Although there, obviously, I presume I do use the word...
Several times.
Well, maybe he said something to provoke me.
Peter, work with me. I'm going to have to explain away this call at some stage. I mean, I now know about this call. I have a responsibility.
I realise that. I just...
We have known each other for a long time.
We have?
We have risen up the organisation together.
Well, risen's putting it a bit strongly.
Slithered, then slithered up the organisation together.
Indeed.
We are old lags.
We are.
But people are watching us, Peter. Well, they're watching me. And they're watching you. There is restructuring, Peter.
I know.
Everyone is after everyone else's job. She in the outer office.
She really after your job?
I wouldn't put it past her.
Oh, look. I just can't remember. I cannot remember why I was saying these things to him. I'm sure there was a perfectly good reason, but I can't for the life of me recall it. I'm getting old, Sam.
I don't think we should tell them that, Peter.
You're the only person who's heard this tape, Sam. Apart from some geezer in training.
I hope you're not suggesting I forget it.
I forgot it. I completely forgot I'd ever said any of those things. Why can't you forget it, Sam?
Peter, it is out there. It's a matter of record. It may even be that she has heard it. Shh. The door.
What is it?
The door. It opened. Ever so slightly. It's her. She does that.
Why?
God, who knows?
Sam, all she's done is open the door. A fraction.
It's an opening move. She's opened the door. What do I do?
You could close it.
It's a terrible idea.
Why?
It's aggressive. It's an aggressive thing to do. She opens the door. I close it. How does that look?
Well, go out there then. Go out there and ask her why she's opened the door.
That's even worse. What do you mean by opening the door? Makes me look like a bully.
Well, go out there and wait for her to raise the subject.
Peter, I can't go
Talk about something else for a while and then just say casually, you know, "Oh, you've opened the door." Like that.
She'll see through that.
Look, just go on and close the door and shout through that she's a complete bleep while you're at it.
I know that this is your preferred way of dealing with people, Peter, but...
Just go out there and make polite conversation then. Ask her about some meeting or other, and then, as you go, on your way back into your office, in a totally relaxed and natural way, you close the door after you. Bingo.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
You can be brilliant.
Thank you.
Do you remember that weekend in Norwich?
Oh, I do.
No wonder they're trying to fire both of us.
Are they trying to fire both of us, Sam?
It's just an expression. I really haven't the faintest idea.
Sam, you are in human resources.
Nobody ever tells us anything.
You've always been there for me, Sam. As an HR person, you've always been there for me. As my HR person.
Well, I'll just go on out there. Janice, okay?
Fine.
Kids?
Oh, you know.
I know.
Mary, okay?
Oh, you know.
Kids?
Oh, fine. I'll just ask about a meeting or something, and then close the door as I go. And
bingo.
Bingo. Just try and think. All we need is a story. All we need is a reason. I'm sure there was a reason for calling him a...
I'll think. Right, now, tape recorder. Come here, my little beauty, and rewind. And stop. Now, finger over nose, press record.
I do not care that it is cross line. You cross my line, you pig. I dare you to say the worst things you can in world to me. I do not care your company. And Norman Fish, je m'en fous. I say mad to you, Englishman.
Stop.
I say mad to you, Englishman.
Ultra reasonable. I do not wish to insult you, Monsieur Bartlemy. I'm asking you to leave this cross line.
Surely, we are in a meeting, and you may have heard, you may hear peculiar things through the door as it's open. I'm not saying you're eavesdropping. Of course, Shirley, if that would be... But the door is open, and it's your absolute right to open the door if you choose. It is as much your door as mine. We share it, of course, and I'm very aware of the need to be inclusive in the workplace, Shirley. All I wanted to say was that you may have heard me saying loudly, shouting, really, the words, naked men, and I didn't want you to be alarmed by that. I'm going now, back to my office, and I'm going to close the door behind me as I go. I don't want you to read any significance into that, Shirley. I'm just, closing the door. Now, thank you very much, Shirley, for your time on this one. I hope your family is well, and your mother. Bingo!
Bingo?
Bingo! Yeah, I just went in, made some casual remark about the meeting, and just walked out and closed the door behind me. Quite naturally.
Indeed, I saw you do it.
You did?
I am in your office, Sam.
So you are. You were thinking about...
I was.
And have you...
I have.
You have?
I have. I have remembered what it was.
What was it?
It was perfectly simple.
He said something about your mother?
No. It was a crossed line. I wasn't talking to a customer. I was talking to a complete stranger who had insulted one of our customers.
I see.
Some random bloke.
You weren't abusing a client?
I was abusing a member of the public.
Which is fine.
Well, obviously. He was an abusive member of the public.
Indeed.
I mean, you could say I should have just let him go on abusing me, but I mean, how far does this politeness thing have to go, eh? Do we all have to creep around apologising for the fact that we're alive these days?
I think that is the general idea, Peter.
Oh, and the silence?
Yes, the silence?
Was to do with, trying to get him off the line.
I see. So, I don't want to be pedantic about this, but why, when we played the tape, did we hear, just silence?
We heard some silence.
Quite.
But not all of the silence.
No?
No. Here, we spooled through, if you remember, and...
we somehow managed to miss this bit of the recording.
Exactly. It was quite low level.
I see.
And play.
I hope you die, you loathsome little man. I hope you die, and all your family die with you.
Sorry. I just spooled back a bit more. That's it, you see?
This is the bit that we missed?
It is.
I see.
Would you like to play it?
Well, if you think that would be a good idea.
Play it again, Sam.
Indeed.
I do not care that it is cross line. You cross my line, you pig. How dare you to say the worst things you can in world to me? I do not care your company. And Norman Fish? Oh, je m'en fous. I say mad to you, Englishman.
I do not wish to insult you, Monsieur Bartlemy. I'm asking you to leave this cross line so that I can get on with my work. I attempt at all times to be a reasonable and civilized employee, but I do warn you, if you want me to insult you, I will do so.
Go on, then. Insult away. Call me the rudest names in your language. I do not care. I will not get out from this line, however much you curse me. I dare you to curse me. Ha-ha!
Oh, well, very well, Mr. Bartlemy. If you insist, here goes. I'll tell you what you are. You're an unspeakable little...
And, obviously, it goes on from there.
Indeed.
He asks you to insult him.
He does.
Well, he urges you to insult him.
He does.
And you do.
I do.
For nearly an hour.
Indeed.
And he's not a client. He is a random member of the public, and an extremely unpleasant one at that, as far as we can see.
That's it, precisely.
And a foreigner to boot.
Exactly.
There's no problem then?
No.
Apart from the fact it was obviously you putting on a silly voice.
Sam.
It was obviously you putting on a silly voice.
Well,
yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I suppose it is.
Why do you do this to me, Peter? Why? Why do you do this to me? Why do you treat me with such contempt? Why are you such an appalling human being?
I don't know.
You're sick, Peter. You are ill. You are mentally disturbed.
Well, that may well be true.
I leave my office for just 1 second.
Indeed.
And you creep around my desk.
I do.
And you lean over the tape recorder.
That's how it was. I'm sorry. Oh, it's all par for the course, and nobody cares that I use the letter word. Who cares? It's just a word. Who cares about words? Who cares about language? They don't care about things like that anymore. All they care about is the money.
All they care about is the money.
Exactly. And they certainly don't care about you and me, Sam. They don't give a monkeys. Whatever we do is fine by them. They're just waiting for the moment when they can fire us.
Fire us?
Oh, they don't have to use that word, do they? They'll let us go or cut us a deal. It doesn't matter anyway, Sam.
You're telling me my job is completely and utterly pointless?
I am. But so's mine. It's all pointless.
It is. It's completely pointless.
But why worry about it?
Why?
Why?
Why? I suppose, shouldn't we worry about things like that? Shouldn't there be some point to life? Shouldn't there be some purpose to it all? Why are we here? Why are we sitting here?
To discuss my appraisal?
Yes. It is coming up.
It is.
We ought to discuss it.
We ought to.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks for popping up.
Not a problem. Hey, listen. There was a good bit at the end of the tape where I sort of howled at him.
Good.
So, what happens now?
Well, we've gone through the motions. We know how to play your appraisal.
And the tape?
It's not out there.
No?
No. It's in here.
Indeed.
And it doesn't need to.
No.
But we have to learn.
Oh, yes.
We have to change and learn.
And modernise.
Yes, indeed. Do you feel your telephone skills are always what they should be?
Oh, I'm sure there's room for improvement there, Sam.
Indeed. See, we'll go into that in your appraisal.
Right.
I'll say to you, do you think there's
room
for improvement in your telephone skills? And you'll
I'll say yes. Very definitely yes.
That's it. Yeah. Job done.
Job done.
Terrific.
In HR by Nigel Williams, Peter was played by Jonathan Pryce and Sam by Nicholas Leprevaux. The director was Peter Kavanagh.
That was the HR Series 1 from February 13th, 2009. Well, that's it for this hour. Stay tuned the next hour when we will present Miranda Hart's Joke Shop pilot episode and Sarah Milliken's support group.